John Wick has become an icon in the action hero genre, but he wasn't the first silent and lethal hitman to take revenge, and he won't be the last. Today's movie, The Killer, is kind of like John Wick and Taken blended together. A retired hitman is asked to take care of his wife's friend's daughter for 3 weeks, and when she's kidnapped, he ends up taking on a criminal organization to save her life and fulfill his promise. It's cheesy, over the top, and visually stunning. The action sequences are a lot of fun, but the story requires a full brain shutdown in order to keep up. Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today's film, The Killer, is Korean, so my apologies as I butcher some of these names. It was directed by Jae-hoon Choi and written by Ji-woong Nam. It stars Jang Hyuk, So-young Lee, and Bong Eun-jung. As usual, we'll start with the good. This film has a lot of great fight scenes, and about half of the movie is the hitman slaughtering his way through hordes of people. These scenes are like video game sequences. He walks through a hallway or into a room and he knows exactly where everyone is and dispatches them one by one while avoiding attackers from every direction. He almost never misses, and the few times he does get hit, he walks it off like the Terminator. It's a lot of fun. The action scenes are crisp and energetic with a lot of long, smooth takes. The stunt team pulls off some incredible sequences with brutally efficient choreography. There is a lot of fast-paced editing, but the fights are clear in what's going on and never get shaky, even with the quick cuts. The camera work in general is smooth, and there are a lot of beautiful shots here to look at. They capture the beauty of the scenery or frame a character really well, and it makes for a nice moment every so often. One particular shot of a character staring out the window at the rain really caught my eye. On top of the slick fight choreography and smooth camera work, there's a solid soundtrack. It's made up of boilerplate tracks, but they're used quite effectively. The fight scenes are backed by metal, rock and roll, and synth tracks that amplify the energy of the scene and get your blood pumping. The music works really well underneath the action. It's well chosen the rest of the time too, but the story has a lot of stunted emotions that even a good soundtrack couldn't save. This brings us to the negatives. The writing is the biggest problem in the film, and the acting and soundtrack suffer pretty heavily from it. The story is a standard action hero plot where a group of bad guys mess with the wrong person, and that person goes on an all-out murder spree against them. It doesn't explain anything. It barely fleshes out its characters, it involves a repetitive cycle of characters making the worst decisions possible, and it has the biggest Gary stew of all time. The hitman's entire backstory is told in 2 sentences at different times in the movie, and he's just good at everything, and never really faces any challenges. Only one of the henchmen ever gets a good shot at him, and even that guy didn't last very long. The hitman has a plan for everything, and he sees through every lie. In truth, the real reason the hitman doesn't die is that he has gigantic plot armor. None of the henchmen can aim or work together, and even when they do have him dead to rights, they just take his weapon and leave him alone with a single guard, who then lets him out of sight. They constantly walk up to him and let him do whatever he wants, and while it leads to a lot of cool executions, it's poor storytelling. The story is told through a series of exposition dumps and flashbacks with every character but the hitman existing to tell him where he needs to go in order to advance the plot. We watch as he visits a location, engages in a fight, finds someone to interrogate, gets the information he needs, and then rinse and repeat. Like in Taken, this continues with him working his way up the chain until he gets to the final bad guy. All of the villains are stereotypical henchmen, with only 2 of them even slightly varying the formula. The 2 who do are given the role of psychopath henchmen who will do anything to win, but sadly both of them die quickly without doing much. They don't flesh out any of the other characters, and they introduce way too many of them. It leads to each of them feeling like just another extra in the movie, even when they're actually a named character with lines. For example, neither of his friends who helped him had more than a minute or 2 of screen time and weren't really relevant enough to warrant being included. Even the girl he's protecting has her time cut short, and all she's allowed to do is act scared and childish at times. None of the actors are given much to work with, aside from the exposition. Bong Eun-jung and So-young Lee get to do some decent fear reactions and play off being scared in slightly different ways, but nothing beyond that. Jang Hyuk looks mighty stoic, but aside from grumpily staring out the window and demanding information in a threatening tone, he mostly just kills people while looking bored. In the end, The Killer is a decent action flick that has a lot of great visuals and action sequences, but a story so barren of emotion and character that you won't remember any of it. You actually do need a story for a movie like this. Just a little bit of character to latch onto and enjoy. 5 out of 10.